Mustafa Kemal, who was watching political developments in Sofia, was against the military alliance because he didn't see any need for it. It was on the 4th and the 5th of November that the Western powers declared war on the Ottoman Empire. At the beginning of 1915, British and French warships moved into position in the Dardanelles, the strait between the Aegean Sea and the Sea of Marmara. The specific aim of this large-scale naval action was to gain control of the straits as a precondition for sea connections with Russia. When Mustafa Kemal was given the order to take command of the 19th Reserve Division and to take part in the defense of the Dardanelles, he had no idea that this was to become a crucial turning point in his life. It was on the 19th of February that the Allied warships opened fire on the Turkish coastal defences. At this point, Mustafa Kemal and his men had taken up positions on the Gallipoli Peninsula. The 18th of March, 1915. Large Allied warships attempt to break through the Straits of Dardanelles. The British War Minister Lord Kitchener and his naval commander Winston Churchill, who had played a part in planning the campaign, hadn't really expected any great resistance, but they were wrong. The attack failed under the pressure of fire from the Turkish coastal batteries and torpedo and mine attacks from German U-boats. The French warship Beauvais, as well as the British cruisers Irresistible and Ocean, were sunk, and a further 4 vessels damaged. In a further attempt to seize control of the straits, the Allies launched a large-scale attack on Gallipoli with 81,000 men on the 25th of April. Without any hesitation, Mustafa Kemal seized the initiative and put his men in the path of the advancing British forces. Something that hadn't been thought possible took place. The British attack was repulsed. Even a second landing attempt on the southern peninsula near Al-Sitipi by Allied troops was halted by Turkish fire. At the end of the fighting, the Entente nations had suffered a serious defeat. The 1st of June saw Mustafa Kemal promoted to the rank of colonel for his successes and personal courage. Then, during the night of the 7th of August, the British made a third try to move behind the Turkish forces close to Suvla Bay, which is north of the strategic Arıburnu high ground. Once again, it was Mustafa Kemal who stood firm. There are eyewitness reports of how he led his troops forward and called on them to show courage in a hail of fire. His example helped his troops to stand firm even in the face of a gas attack intended to break resistance. Later, the international criticism of the British use of gas prompted Churchill to show his true colours when he said he couldn't understand the oversensitive reaction to the use of gas. He said he was definitely in favour of using it against uncivilized tribes. But even this weapon of war didn't help the British. At the end, the Turkish forces were able to register success. The battle for Gallipoli ended in a huge victory. Just how courageous the Turkish soldiers had been was mirrored in the loss of life. 90,000 dead and over 200,000 wounded was the price paid for victory. The real hero of Gallipoli was undoubtedly Mustafa Kemal. The Turkish newspapers described him euphorically as the saviour and hero of the fatherland. For the very first time, his name was mentioned all around the world. Later, in January 1916, as he took over command of the 16th Army Corps stationed in Edirne, where he was met by enthusiastic crowds of people. After another posting to the East Anatolian Front, he was later promoted to the rank of general on the 1st of April 1916 and was awarded the honorary title of Pasha. The situation of the Turkish forces fighting on the Eastern Front was dramatic. They didn't have enough weapons, ammunition, food and clothing. The men were worn out and ill. The war could not be won with men in this condition. In spite of a great deal of personal initiative, Mustafa Kemal could not halt the advance of the Russian Tsar's troops. The Turkish army used the apparent breakdown symptoms within the Tsar's forces and launched an offensive which suddenly recaptured the East Anatolian territory. The outcome of the war had been militarily decided. The program put forward the idea of a Turkish government for the areas of the former Ottoman Empire where Turks lived. Mustafa Kemal traveled to Vienna in June of the same year.
Hey 15'li 15'li Tokat yolları taşı Hey 15'li 15'li Tokat yolları taşı 15'liler geliyor
15 yaşındaki yiğitlerin saçlarına kına yakıldı. Hey 15'li atlarıyla vatana kurban olsun diye yolcu edildi. Varlığımızı, özgürlüğümüzü borçlu olduğumuz bu yiğitler kahramanca canlarını verdi. Onlar toprak altındaki köklerimiz. Onları yeteri kadar tanıyor, çocuklarımıza, gençlerimize tanıtıyor muyuz? Ağaç kökleriyle beslenir. Kökü olmayan ağacın dalı olmaz. Geçmişini bilmeyenin geleceği olmaz.